Oh, let's see.
This is the first Fable chat episode to ever go live. And we have an Irishman watching, which is always very nice.
That makes it better.
So, a welcome, 8 Mex. And I think we had a manner of topics to discuss today. I mean, this isn't my live stream; it's primarily Jeffrey's, and we wanted to discuss lots of things from Fable 4, which is your last video, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, well. Oh
Yes,
yeah, what we
Fable
won
4.
Fable 4. I almost forgot my own fucking video. Maybe.
So we're going to discuss these Project Ego screenshots. So Jeff, why don't you take this away?
Okay, so this is a new screenshot. It's just a different angle, so it's not too exciting really, but it's a new one. Can't complain.
I mean, it sort of looks nice, but then again, Fable itself is a very nice looking game. You know, with the way the pond comes out. I mean, does Fable actually include that level of reflections in the water? Because I've never actually bothered to look, from a technical perspective.
I don't believe it does. It might. I've honestly forgotten.
I think that'd be an
that
interesting
crazy.
topic. I mean, shall I fire up the game and see if it's actually got that level of reflections?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I mean,
are these screenshots lies? Did Fable get graphically downgraded? Did they pull a Uplay? I'm just going to load up a save. Let me find it. Default, continue. Where was I? This is my save from my bloody £3 graphics card benchmark. Right. I'll head to like the Rivers Creek. So I've gone to the only bit in the game where I can think of that has similar aesthetics to that, which is
well, I'd imagine Greatwood Lake.
Yeah, Greatwood Lake. And I can confirm the reflections look very, very similar. I mean, is this on the highest settings? Let me see. I'm going to turn it all up to max.
I put the taskbar there because I am a degenerate, unfortunately, and I used Ubuntu.
Oh, that's a shame.
I used Ubuntu.
I'm going to be real with you, Jeff. The reflections
are
actually surprisingly competent.
Are they?
You know, they don't look as nice.
Okay, so they're not at the level of the screenshot.
Yeah, but Fable does actually include that level of reflection detail. You know, I'm looking into the distance, and it's still there. Like, there's still a level of reflections.
I'm trying to figure this out.
The Guildmaster's telling me to get my combat multiplier even higher. I mean, do we still sound like we are dying? I mean, I'm actually playing Fable with a Fable live stream.
Good.
To be fair, though, while I wasn't concentrating, 3 of these traders have ganged up and actually killed the bandit by punching him to death. I think that, you know, that screenshot you're showing does look like a bigger version of Greatwood Lake.
I would imagine so. It does look very...
It looks too large considering, you know, the other area. Like, my concern with that area is that could very well have been on a dev kit Xbox and actually cut down and turned into Greatwood Lake. When you actually look at the original Xbox areas, they are very detailed, but they're very small due to those RAM constraints.
Let's move on to the next screenshot here. It's just it's a top-down angle, and this lake is very big. Like, it's fucking humongous. It's big chungus.
I mean, if you give us 20 seconds, I'll see it sharp on stream, because that's what I'm going by.
Oh, okay.
Alright. give it just a second.
Alright.
Give it a second.
I think I do have the delay on here. Oh, I have no added delay.
Yep.
Okay.
We're coming. Oh,
he's gonna do it.
Oh, is he gonna click it? Is he gonna click? He just clicked it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there we go.
Look
that was
at this.
beautifully done.
Look at this massive lad right here.
Once again, that looks really nice.
It does look really nice.
The fact is, even with the Fable reflection engine, you know, that they've actually got used, that would look like that if it was implemented in Fable.
Yeah, definitely.
Fact is, it looks like a really pretty game for 2004, but that's a screenshot from earlier. That's probably 2003?
I would imagine 2003, because once we hit 2004, the world was massively cut down in size.
Oh yeah, it was around that time that it was announced that, yeah,
fuck it, cut it down.
We can't do this on an original Xbox, which is a shame, really. But admittedly, when you're pushing the limitations of the most powerful console of the, you know, era. Now, one thing I find really interesting about Fable, and I don't know if you found this too, Jeff, is I've always found that on my, you know, shitty Xbox, it doesn't run nicely.
Yeah,
because
I was like,
of how the game utilizes the hard drive caching. Meanwhile, on my Crystal Xbox, which is stock but has a decent hard drive inside, the performance was relatively stable.
8meg says, have you ever come across the cutting room floor? Yes, I have. I don't think they have a Fable article, though. Maybe I need to make one. I don't know. I'm not really that, deep in the game files, so I can't really say that much about it.
Oh, well, the way that I look at it is I need to actually look at the Fable game files more, but until I actually get around to modding a new Xbox, it's a bit... I need to get hold of a copy of the original Fable.
Now, okay, Fable on an SSD, though. Now, how would that work?
Fable on an SSD, the way that I'm looking at it is the way the game works is one of the reasons why the game has such poor performance on the Xbox 360. The way the game utilizes hard drive-based caching along with a lot of original Xbox games is the cache on the hard drive is used to store temporary data before it's sent to the RAM, which is then split between the CPU and GPU. It's the same way that they balance the CPU and GPU load by using the cache on the hard drive and the RAM because of its higher speed compared to the PS2 and, Dreamcast and GameCube, essentially allowing them to balance load and reduce frame rate drops. Now, of course, when you take away this caching area, or the caching area becomes slower, you end up with slower data transfer, which ends with, I've found, more hitches, more frame drops, because on my Crystal Xbox, the most drops I actually really get is like Oakvale or somewhere like that. If you start, a very populated town where the CPU is heavily loaded and the graphics card's loading in a lot of scenery, something like that, you start putting in the particle effects of spells, and suddenly you end up with a lot of frame drops. Now, the Crystal Xbox you're talking about feels like about 24 FPS. It feels kind of sluggish, but not bad. My Xbox with a damaged hard drive feels like it's chugging to a crawl. Yeah. And that one has an even better DVD drive in it, so it's definitely not the loading from the DVD drive in the first place.
Yeah, my uncle had the same issue with his PS4 because his hard drive was just dying and things were just not loading right at all. It was fucking
Well, that's
horrible.
actually loading in off the hard drive, isn't
loading
it, on a PS4?
Oh, yeah. Man, it was pretty fucking terrible. I think he was playing Horizon Zero Dawn. The voice lines were
Hello
out of sync
there.
with the characters. Oh, hello there.
You just had a comment. I can't read your name because I don't speak Russian, but hello to the Russian community. If you're from the Project Ego team, we love your work on Project Ego. Well, the mod. It's interesting stuff. One thing we were discussing was Fable 3. Now, I've never really played it through. Neither of you.
I have played the demo. That's about as far as I want to get to.
The demo is even worse than the real game. Like, the demo is meant to be exciting enough to entice you to buy it.
It didn't really entice me to buy it.
Even worse. It's just terrible. It's a terrible game. But the fact is, I think me and you need to actually sit there, play it, and see just what went wrong. Because the idea behind it is clever.
Yeah.
The problem is that it was rushed, it was awful, and the battle music sounds like the Paint Brawl Extreme soundtrack. It's awful.
Oh, can we also... The fucking hero talks in this game. Why did they do that? That makes
Does he talk? Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, depending on what gender you pick.
He's meant to be a silent protagonist, isn't he?
Yeah, the silent protagonist always works out better. When you have a voice protagonist, it makes you kind of feel like, well, there's a limited amount of scenarios that they could be in. If that makes sense?
It just feels like it's not your character anymore.
That's it. Okay, that's the way.
Yeah, because the way that I like games is when you're a silent protagonist, Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, all the Elder Scrolls, Fable 2.
It makes you feel like you're a part of the character.
It feels like, you are the character you are playing. And I appreciate that in an RPG.
So we're going to move on to the next screenshot before we just get carried away,
Yes, before we continue the rambling, of course.
Now, this area interests me because it looks like it's Witchwood and Greatwood combined.
That is an interesting screenshot. I like the moon in the background.
The moon is massive. It's like a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas kind of moon. Except you can't shoot
I do agree with that comment there, though, that Fable is an overrated Halo clone.
Exactly. It is.
I mean, you can see in that screenshot there's the Halo in the background.
That's exactly.
Exactly. That is what Peter Molyneux, he saw Halo and he thought, that is going to be my next game.
Exactly.
And then proceeded to remove any form of guns or any form of aliens and went with the old British folklore tactic, which isn't actually bad. I can't believe that Fable or Fable The Lost Chapters aren't available on Xbox One X,
That is disappointing.
It's a shame.
It's like the same shit with 360, except we have the original Fable, but we don't have Fable Lost Chapters. But would you really want to play...
Fable on Xbox 360 doesn't run very nice.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, Lost Chapters doesn't even run that good.
I mean, it's to do with the hard drive caching again. It just
doesn't like it.
The bigger the save becomes, the more it has to try and load into that cache to load, which then ends up with like 5-minute load times at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
and then when the game actually does start getting loaded in, the frame rate drops are all over the place.
And if you hero
it's
save too many
ridiculous.
times, it actually fucks with your save, and it can potentially like just damage it. It took me forever, but I finally found the picture. The Darkwood Bordello. Now, yeah, the Darkwood Bordello is not in the original. It's in TLC only. Fun fact.
Yeah, exactly. We can't discuss that because we need monetization.
Oh.
Should we call the stream 24-hour monetization drive? Get these subs up 1,000 subs.
So this is
And
apparently
it was-
Bowerstone Cemetery, recreated
Yeah.
in the original Fable before they added it to the Fable 2. It's very cool how they did that.
I think it's interesting how they got them to learn it, but I suppose that's what makes the Fable engine so good. It's like Nintendo. The developers are so experienced with it, they are able to make a good game on an engine they know. I mean, Fable 3 wasn't a good game, but it was a pretty one, and it ran well.
Oh yeah, they're good at that. Just gameplay-wise, not so much, you know.
Just gameplay-wise, I mean, the battle music sounds like the Paint Brawl Extreme soundtrack.
I don't even think they added that in the actual official soundtrack, because I couldn't find it.
Did they not?
I don't believe they did. I think it's a different one.
It's horrifying. It's utterly horrifying. Okay, so this one here, that's the is that the cemetery again?
It looks like the cemetery. It looks a lot more
It
foggy
looks like the
than I remember.
cemetery. Yeah, it also looks a bit. Looks like the details are actually increased from this. This looks rather low poly. I mean, if you look at the
Yeah, it does look a bit lower quality.
I mean, it's a map editor probably, but if you look at the textures, there's no anisotropic filtering off into the distance.
Fable.
I
Wind.
hate it. It looks all right.
Let's see, Rookridge. Okay. So I don't recognize the Fable 2
Yeah,
areas
the
as much as I
voice.
do the original.
I mean, it looks ugly, but it doesn't look the worst. So, shall we as we digress, finish up with some Fable 4 rumors? Because I just wanted to discuss, playground games.
Yeah, playground.
Given their success with spin-offs.
Do you know what Briar Rose sounds like in the original Fable?
I haven't played the original Fable. I've only played the Lost Chapters.
Oh, you're in for a surprise. Like, it's really bad.
It sounds like they took one of the characters that couldn't make it onto Made in Chelsea and then gave her a job on the set of Fable The Lost Chapters.
I don't know. She's
It's
just so
some-
whiny. It's just like, God, I didn't realize it.
That is what we call a Towie accent, Jeff.
Oh, is that what that is?
It is a horrible choice for that character. Should we get around to saying our goodbyes to the viewers?
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this almost 1 hour live stream. We almost made 45 minutes. That's pretty good length, I'd say.
45 minutes is a good length, actually.
Yeah.
I'm off.
Are we off? All right.
Are we off? I'm off.
I'm off. All
Good night,
right.
everyone.
Good night.